Let's talk about, maybe we go on our remind people that we don't try and tell people how to parent. We
Right.
won't go into that on detail, right? But I was actually a little bit shocked this article that came out, and this was it's on 9 to 5 Mac. There will be a link in the show notes, but I think it's Life 360 that sponsored this study. But Life 360 is an app similar to Find My. There's some other features
Yes.
that have to it. Now, I used to be a big proponent of Life 360 and pushed it a lot. And then they had some privacy issues where the tracking information wasn't quite as private. I'm assuming that they've fixed it because in the article it talks about how many tens of millions of users in the US and how many tens of millions of users they have internationally using
Right.
it. But putting that aside, um, I saw this article and then I thought back to the fact that all three of the four of my adult kids that are on iPhones allowed some level of tracking,
Right.
and they're all adults. Two of them are at college, and now I don't. My one daughter that's here, my wife can see her location. That's how they've shared that. And
Yeah.
but the other two, um, they've just. I told them you guys can turn this off anytime you want. They're like, no, 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 it's fine.
Right.
And so I read this article and I thought, okay, well, maybe this is part of it. So, did you read this article? What do you think?
So I didn't get to finish it, but when you sent it to me, it just reminded me of a few different situations, right? How often I see this. So there's a couple of young ladies that work for us, right? They contract with the companies, and again, we work outside, downtown, different events, parties, festivals, stuff like that. So um, I thought it was just me and my family because my kids they don't have a problem with being tracked, and like you told me several times that your kids they don't have a problem with it. They won't turn it off even though they have the ability to. So one of the young ladies that works, she's 21. Um, her and her sister and her mom they all track each other, and I remember this because after an event and we were getting towards the end, I'm like, "Hey, is your mom going to come pick you up? You're off at like 9 o'clock or whatever." She's like, "Yeah, yeah." I tracked her. She's on the way to get me. I'm like, "Okay, you guys do track each other?" She's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we do that all the time. I want her to know my location all the time." So that was a previous thing. So we fast forward to this past Saturday. I was training the new young lady. And she's younger. She's a teenager. The same thing. Hey, your shift ends at 10. Is your dad coming to get you? She said, I don't know. She pulled out her phone and she tracked him. And she's like, oh yeah, he's exited here. He's about 8 minutes away, I think was the exact time. So I'm like, that's cool that these teenagers are taking advantage of this technology. All the way up to we walked into the house last night. No, no, I'm sorry. This was Sunday. Me and my wife, we went to dinner after our market. We came in, and my daughter, who just got her iPad back, says, "I knew you guys were coming because I tracked you." This is my 7-year-old. I knew you guys were coming because I tracked y'all and I saw that mom was coming down the street. So yeah, I think this technology has grown beyond, just a controlling parent or a controlling person, in a relationship, just trying to, you know what I mean, assert that control over somebody. And it's more of a safety slash convenience slash, just timing thing. You mentioned before, like, when to text your son because you'll see he'll show up on the map if he's in a certain hall, in a certain lecture hall or something. Okay, I'm not going to message him now because I know he's busy or he's practicing, his music or something. So yeah, to see more people taking advantage of this technology, man, I love it. I love it. It's a wonderful thing.
Now, not everybody's going to like it, and that's fine. But I thought one of
Right.
the interesting things in the article was that the vast majority, and they were doing Gen Z, right? And don't
Right.
get me started on which gen is which, um, but things like long distance driving, visiting new or dangerous places, going to
Right.
an event, concert, or festival, and when they're going to a party or on a date, right? And a huge number, and I don't think this is a surprise, of women feel like that is a safety feature
Yeah.
and that their physical well being benefits from that. And now they've grown up with this. I mean, like with my kids, knew you want a phone, there's no privacy, right? Dad can
Right.
track you, he can get into the
Right.
phone anytime, all that kind of stuff. But even for parents that don't do that, I think there's still a psychological thing here. And I thought it was interesting. Like I said, we'll put the link to this in here, but the quote from a psychologist said that anxiety plays a key role in this. And this is just one way to feel safe, right? And
Mhm.
I've noticed that with our kids and with uh, younger generations too, that it just seems like mental health issues are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. There's more to worry
Right.
about. There's more to be anxious about. And so using technology, if we can use it in a way that takes away some of that anxiety, like turning off notifications, that fear of missing out, or putting limits on how much time we spend on social media, which can have a negative impact on your mental health, or
Yeah.
something like this where saying I'm comfortable that you know where I am all the
Right.
time. And then the new check-in feature, and Life 360 had an emergency thing that you just basically hit a button, and it would tell your contacts there was an emergency or stuff like that. And Apple, you can do
Right.
that by
What
squeezing
what's up?
the buttons on the phone. But
Right.
so I think this is super interesting that um, we live in a world where privacy is such a big deal, where us having control over our privacy is what we really want, right? We
Right.
want to be able to expose what information we want to those that we want to have it, and we don't want the government or anybody else snooping in on all of our kind of stuff. And then I think it's funny because most people throw that away because they do a ton of stuff on Facebook. Have a nice day
Right.
having your privacy. So,
Right, right. I don't want the government tracking me, and then they check in somewhere on their Facebook to let
yeah,
everyone know where they're at. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, really good. I love to see people using this technology for you know just safety and just togetherness. Convenience, just all of these different uses to be able to track, just to know. And it's weird the three cases that I gave were all the children tracking the parents,
yeah,
but still that same vice versa, just being able to know what everyone is, everyone should be where they should be at the time. It makes you feel safe and secure. So I love it.